Well, welcome to Ignite Humanity Live. I'm your host, JB Owen, and I'm so happy to be here because, folks, today we are on location. That's right, we're in Los Angeles. We are here filming for a filming of my movie premiere. Super excited to talk about Beyond Limitations. And the reason I am here is to meet some amazing individuals who are truly igniting humanity. They are doing amazing things, and I have them on my show. Some guests are in the house. We're super excited to welcome them here because you know what we're doing? We are igniting humanity. And why are we doing that? Well, because now more than ever, we need to be thinking about how we can support one another in igniting each other's lives. And we're doing that through small incremental suggestions, ideas, movements, help, that way that we can create a ripple effect amongst other people, including ourselves, because it's always an inside job to start. We got to do it ourselves first before we can do it with anyone else. And that is how we're going to ignite humanity. We want to create connection and communication and collaboration. And we do it by meeting people, connecting with each other, and finding out what I call their ignite moments. Every one of us has an ignite moment. Each and every one of us have that special time in our life where something happened that changed everything. And we're here to listen to those ignite moments because they open up our hearts, they awaken our minds, and they inspire us in ways we have never seen before. And when we hear somebody else going through the trials and tribulations of their lives and coming out on the other side, excuse me, we find magic in those stories and we align ourselves with those stories. And that is what's going to bring us together. So we're super happy to have you on the show on location. If you want to watch this episode, make sure that you go check us out at ignitehumanity.life/watch, and you'll be able to see everything we're doing here in Los Angeles, and you'll be able to see all the other episodes that we're up to. And one last thing, it's February, so that means it's Valentine's Day right around the corner, and we want to encourage you to go to our charity initiative. We are doing Bricks of Hope for every one of our schools. Every single dollar you donate goes towards our schools, and we have this wonderful thing called Bouquets of Hope. $12. When you invest $12, you get a beautiful virtual bouquet of hope, and we send that to a person of your choice. A recipient receives a beautiful virtual bouquet of hope, and that means for Valentine's Day, it's not a $100 bouquet of roses. It's $12 goes towards 12 bricks in our schools, and that's going to ignite lives in children. So please go to ignitehumanity.life/hope and buy a bouquet of hope for someone you love, or even for yourself. $12 will make a big impact this Valentine's Day. All right, let's get at it. Let's check out our first guest waiting here so patiently with us. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Paul Finck. He is the Maverick Millionaire.
Hey, hey, hey.
I kind of like that, you know, the Maverick Millionaire. That's a fantastic title.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
How did you get the Maverick Millionaire?
Well, I wasn't always this person. Can you imagine? And so the Maverick Millionaire came about. I was Paul Finck, and I was going around and I was creating this world. And at one point I decided I needed a brand of some sort. And I started talking to people about what my brand might be. And it was fascinating going through that process. And there were a whole lot of really bad ideas, a whole lot of really bad, just crazy ideas that I'm almost embarrassed to say. And then one person said, he went through my history. I'm like, well, what have you done? Tell me more about your story. Tell me more about where you started. And he said, I don't know whether this is a brand. However, you've been a maverick in everything you've done. Like you've always done it just a little bit off kilter, a little bit different to create magnificent results. And he said, that's what resonates with me. And as soon as he said it, I went, ooh.
Boom, right?
Like, and
ignite
I said,
moment.
Right, ignite moment. I said, that's me. That's who I am. And the millionaire part was because I do focus on the monetization of, and that money is a catalyst for so much in our world. And when you create more in your world, you can give more in your world and make it all work. And so the Maverick Millionaire was just a roll of the tongue, if you will, that seemed to fit. And it just resonated with me.
And it's so beautiful, folks, the way something happened for you, some little spark, some ignite. I like to, use that word, the spark, the ignition. And you didn't push away from it. Let's talk a little bit about, you didn't fear it like, well, that's not me. I'm not good enough. I can't do that. Why are you calling me that?
Oh my gosh.
You leaned into it.
Yes. And I talk a lot about that is to grab hold of your power. And I will tell you, there's so many people that have given me pushback by even claiming the millionaire status, because I started saying I was a millionaire when I was just barely tapping into the market. And I had already created the financial wherewithal. However, the proof wasn't obvious. And so people were like, well, are you really a millionaire? And what do you have in your bank account? Can you really? And it was so fascinating to me, the pushback on it, that I have a tendency to double down rather than shy away. And it's a methodology that you live within. That you live within that space of saying, this is who I am, and own it. And then you can be it, you can live it, and you can transform yourself as well as the world. Does that make sense?
Well, you're so speaking my language, because for those of you who know me, I go by the Finck billionaire.
There you go.
Right? And I've had the exact same experience. So many people have said, are you a billionaire? Why do you call yourself a billionaire? How can you use the term billionaire? And for me, Paul, I love the idea that billionaire is not just numbers on a page. It's not zeros. We make a billion impacts. We touch a billion lives, a billion smiles, a billion hugs. Billionaire and millionaire is a consciousness.
Yes.
It is not numbers.
Yeah.
And so the Finck billionaire for me obviously was about women, empowering women, making women feel like they can be billionaires through impact. And I think you're the same. It's not about the number.
I also will add to this that both of us are in that mindset that what you put out there, you become. What you put out there, you get back. And so many people resist like grabbing hold of titles in their world that it's so fascinating. When we go in the corporate world and we have a title, we are designated, oh, you're a manager, you're an executive producer, you're this, you're that. As a corporation, they give us those titles and then we can own them. Like, when do you own your title for a job?
Right.
Day one.
Right.
But then you become an entrepreneur and it's like, oh no, you have to prove yourself first before you're able to own that title. It's like, no, designate your title and then you will be that person. And so whether you want to be, for me, a speaker, trainer, coach, international speaker, international movie star, as we are now tonight, and so much of what we have, we decide as an entrepreneur, and yet others wait till they're anointed by someone else.
I always say you got to be it to become it.
Yes.
Like Lady Gaga showed up as Lady Gaga.
Oh my gosh.
Madonna called herself Madonna.
Yes.
Shaq chose Shaq. Like people showed up and decided that's who they were going to become. And did they have to trip and fall to get there? Yes. Did they have to learn their way? Did they have to create the chops? And absolutely. And so if you want to be a parent, if you want to be a homeowner, if you want to be a school teacher, if you want to just be someone in your community, if you want to be a Boy Scout captain, those are things you just start being and you become them because you're stepping into them. And so really, really powerful stuff. Let me switch gears though. There's got to be somewhere in your life, little Paul, teenage Paul, somewhere, right? Where there was an ignite moment that maybe you didn't have this belief system and something really changed in you.
I've always been a out of the box thinker. I've always been looking for that next step in my world. And so I've been an entrepreneur now for 36 years. I've never worked for anybody a day in my career. I went right out of college, going right into being an entrepreneur, owning my own business, straight commission sales in multiple different industries. And yet, for about 15 years or so, I was playing small. For about 15 years, and I look back, I was like, oh my gosh, who was that person? That I felt empowered. I felt like, oh, I was doing the thing. And yet I never quite got past a certain threshold, if you will. I graduated from college thinking, oh, $100,000. Man, that was it. And I did everything I could, scrapper, if you will, and just making it happen. But then I plateaued and I stayed there for more than a decade. And I look back going, why did I get stuck? Why did I get stopped? And then my catalyst moment, my ignite moment, And this isn't for the weak of heart or for everybody. However, I have 6 children.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
And so I have 3 sets of twins.
Wow.
So when my last set of twins were born, I had 6 kids under 6 years old. And I don't know whether everybody understands what the magnitude of shift. Within 14 months, I went from a family of 4, my wife and I and 2 children, to a family of 8, which is a whole different level of finances, a whole different level of responsibility. I was the sole income producer in the family, and the produce for a family of 8 was a whole nother level. So what's that about? And I started looking at it going, well, if I continue to play small, if I continue to do what I was doing for the next 12, 24, 36 months, I was going to be in devastate mode. I was going to be spending more than I was ever making. And in a short period of time, I would have dug a hole that was impossible to get out of. So I had to change. And I began to look at it. And part of that came internally from my responsibility for my family, my fatherly instincts to care and give abundance to my children. And that drove me past, everything that we tell you, oh, here's who we are. Look at how great it is. There's a pain, there's a struggle, there's a fight that we had to go through to get to the other side. And so what's going to drive you through the fire? What's going to drive you to the other side? And for me, it was my responsibility to my wife and my children, was that I couldn't look at them and say, oh, we're not able to do, we're not able to be because daddy played small. And that was a pain button inside of me that, well, you look at my history, came from my father, not because he stepped up, but because he didn't. And I analyzed that and realized I wasn't going to be that person. Time for me to step up and be the person that I knew I could be to create that abundance. And so just simply having 6 children, was a catalyst for me that drove and ignited me to do everything I've done since.
And what's so great is that you didn't, some of us take the slippery slope, right? We take the victim role. And sometimes things happen in our lives that are difficult and we go in the direction of the victim or, the sufferer. Right.
Right. I'm put upon. Right. I've got to do all this for my family.
What am I going to do now? Exactly. Yeah. And so I'm fascinated that there was a part of you that was really inspired and, ignited to decide that you were going to do whatever you had to take the road to support your family. And then, of course, that has inspired you to ignite others, which it's the law of igniting humanity. You empower yourself, which then you empower others, and that allows others to empower themselves, which this big ripple effect unfolds. Yeah, no and so now you've got great kids, you've empowered your wife, you're empowering millions of people, you're inspiring individuals to go after their Maverick.
Yes.
It's Solution Day. It's Friday, folks. If you just didn't know, it's all about solutions. Do you have some solutions that someone sitting at home, they've got a bunch of kids, life is tough, maybe they're not exactly sure how to push themselves to that point that you talk about?
A couple things that are mantras, if you will, in the back of my head or in the front of my head every single day. One is that, we're in front of cameras now, only most of you don't live in this space all the time. And yet, imagine if you did. Imagine if you had a camera crew following you around 24/7 and broadcast everything you did in the middle of Times Square, streamed it around the world for everyone to see. Would you act different? Most people act differently in private than they do out in public. All I ask is to consider, what if you were that person that you show yourself to be in public? What if that was the person that you look to live up to every day? That you look to be that person even in private? How would your conversations with your spouse be? How would your conversations with your children be? What would be your work ethic from morning to night? Would you lounge on the couch in your skivvies and kind of hang out and do nothing? Would you just sit there and eat bonbons all day? Or would you do something different? Start asking yourself those questions. And I started looking at, for myself, what the expectations were for me, what I wanted the perfect me to be. Mm-hmm. And then say, all right, that's the one I want on TV. That's the one I want broadcast throughout the world. How do I live that every day?
And it actually inspires you to live to the highest integrity. And it's one of the principles of Ignite Humanity is really about elevating yourself, evolving, because we're these creatures. We want to evolve our brains, our human beings. We want to elevate. And it's a great idea because, folks, imagine if a camera crew was watching you and you butt in front of somebody or didn't hold the door for somebody or, accidentally took something that, the checkout girl forgot to charge you for. Would you feel that level of integrity within yourself when you go home and you review your videotape of the day? Ooh. Versus if you were able to live in that place where I loved helping the door for somebody. I loved reminding somebody that maybe they're having a hard day and by the way, this item needs to be going also through my bill.
Right.
Or how can I support you? Or how can I just listen? How can I just be there?
It's so interesting. And we can look at this on a big level and also on the micro level. And what you're talking about is those little things make all the difference in the world. Like I wake up and I get dressed. I don't wake up and go, let me not shower, let me not shave, I get up and get dressed every day. And whether I'm going to be sitting at home in my home computer and hanging out or just hanging out with the family or whether I'm going out, it doesn't make a difference because for me, this is who my best self is. Mm-hmm. And it's those little things that make the difference. And like you said, holding up the door and it's all threads together to create the person that you really want. When you're living in the space of the person that you really want to be, magic happens. And it's the beginning of the path to greatness, to abundance, to everything else that you want in your life. Start there. Who do you want to be?
And let's talk about the word greatness too, because some people feel like I can't be great. Why would I even want to be great? I actually have had people say to me, I don't need to be great, but let's qualify that, right? Because you and I both know the word greatness is really, again, internal, right? The greatest version of me, the greatest version of what I've been divinely assigned to do here. And so, folks, when we say the word your greatness, what we really want is you to be living in the greatest essence of you.
Yeah, I talk about your fullest potential. Whoever you is inside, I never look to decide, this is who you need to be for my clients, and I have coaching students all around the world. I don't walk in saying, this is who you need to be and this is how to get there. I say, who do you want to be? Who's the best self? Let's define that. And then how do we build a journey to be that person? And so it's all defined within. It's defined by you. Mm-hmm. What does that greatness look like? And then you live into it.
Yeah, you and I got to hang out more because I have the same idea. What is it you want to become? We talked about be it to become it. Yes. And then how do you reverse engineer? Like, if this is who I want to be, what do I need to do to get to be that person?
Right.
And the funnest thing is that's the journey, right? It's not like I have to be this person tomorrow. I have to leapfrog from here to here. If this is who I want to be, the real yummy, juicy fun is in becoming that through the process.
Hear, hear. Yes, I've got a saying, and I've got it on the wristband right here, and it is, this is only the beginning. And every day, no matter where you are, this is true. This is only the beginning. And everything wherever I am now, people, at different stages, some people look at, you haven't done enough. Other people are saying, you've done too much. Or, that's so big, I can't believe it. And all these different, well, none of that is true. All of it is I am just one day further on my journey to my fullest potential, which for me, I will never get to. I will never quite reach because it's all about a journey.
Right.
And this is only the beginning, reminds me that I'm just getting moving. I'm just starting.
And I tell people the joy is in figuring it out and finding it and unfolding it and going on the adventure and pivoting. Like, that's really, in my opinion, the whole essence of humanity. Because if we just got plunked down here and then everything was perfect and we could just think it and it all appeared, wouldn't that be kind of boring after a while? Like,
there you go.
Right? The fun is in the unfolding.
Yes. And boy, is life a journey and excitement every step of the way. Just ask me, wife, 6 children, and just amazing journey. And by the way, now I've gone through some of the test of time. My youngest is 21.
Wow.
So give you some idea of where we are in this journey. It's been the last 21 years that I've been on this path. And so absolutely every day for the last 21 years, my focus has been to live up to the expectations of myself and also be able to look my children in the eye and to live up to their expectations of who they would love to have as a father. And that drives me every day.
I want to really applaud you for that, because the role of a father, being there as a father in whatever capacity you're capable, but being there to support your kids, being role models for them. They're watching.
Yes.
They're always watching, and we don't
every moment,
right?
Every moment they're watching.
They catch you, right? They're like,
yes.
Didn't you say, Dad, didn't you doing that
Here,
Maverick thing? Like, are you doing that right now?
Here.
I had a great story with one of my authors who was suffering from COVID, and he had decided that he was in the hospital on his last legs, decided that he was giving up. And he couldn't handle the COVID illness. And his daughter showed up with a gold card from Bob Proctor that said, "What's your purpose?" And said, "Dad, excuse me, don't give up. Here's your gold card. What's your purpose?" And it was, his daughter who he had, been a reflection to her that we don't give up. We all have a purpose. And so, folks, if you're listening, go after your purpose. Be a maverick. Give us one more solution before we wrap up.
One more solution. So decide who you want to be and commit to it. One of the biggest challenges that people have is that they'll say, "Oh, I want to be a millionaire. I want great life. I want to be a great father. I want to be a great role model." Whatever the case may be that you say you want, decide what your commitment level is to it. Because most people will say those things and then go, "Well, what's your commitment level?" And when I say commitment level, I mean, I am willing to do whatever it takes. And some people get hung up by that. Legally, morally, ethically.
Right.
All right, we'll take that as an absolute, as a given. Legally, morally, ethically, I will do whatever it takes to create what I decide. And I'm not telling you to decide any one thing. Only whatever you decide, say, what's my commitment level? And when it's a level 10, you're doing it right.
Right.
When it's anything less than a level 10, you get to decide whether to increase your commitment or change your goal, change what you decided you wanted. Because otherwise you're out of alignment and you're destined to be less than.
Yeah, and it's really hard on ourselves. I mean, I was reviewing my goals from last year, and I put on my goal, I wanted a new car. And so when I review my goals every year, I like to see, how many I accomplished and how many I didn't. And I was fascinated to see that I wanted a new car, but I did nothing to do to get it.
Yes.
It was just like a thing. I put out there some wish, but I had taken no steps throughout the year to actually obtain a new car. And so I crossed it off the list and thought, how many more times do we say we want something, but we really don't do what you said and commit to it? So narrow down your focus, narrow down what it is you want, be the person you really want to be, and then commit or let it go.
Sometimes we write things down that other people told us we were supposed to have on our list. It's not really what you wanted. I did the same thing. Years ago, my first dream sheet, if you will, had Lamborghini on it. Now, I could care less about cars. I'm not a car guy. I want to know a Lamborghini if I fell on it.
Right.
But someone told me, oh, if you want to be rich and successful, you want a big car, a really expensive car. I could care less. And so I've learned over the years to really get focused in on what I want. And do I truly want it at a level 10? Then I go after it.
Yeah, and I bought into some idea that was you have to write your 50 goals for the year. And so I was just kind of throwing out some goals because I was trying to make this 50 list, which in all honesty is kind of ridiculous because it's really almost hard for someone to make 50 of their lifetime goals in 12 months. Why would we do that to ourselves? Have a great goal, have something that really inspires you, is going to ignite you and your family, create that ripple effect into humanity, and focus truly on that. So fascinating to chat with you.
Absolutely.
I love that we're connected. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for igniting humanity.
You're very welcome.
Awesome. All right, folks. Well, you've learned a lot from Paul. And of course, if you want some more of him, you can check him out on his website. We'll put it up at the bottom of the page and get all of the details, what he's up to. And then go back and watch this episode again. There were so many good things we were sharing and pouring into you and giving you all kinds of tips and solutions. So go to ignitehumanity.life/watch and you can see all of our episodes. They are 100% free. I do this. I show up. I get up every morning committed to being here to help you because I want you to have the tools and the strategies and the tips that you need to make those little incremental micro movements that are actually being become macro impact in your life. And so go check us out on our website. You can find us all. And if you want to see us live, well, of course, watch us here on the network. And we are also live on Ignite Television on Facebook. You can check out all of the guests every single day. We've got somebody new to truly inspire you. Now, if you've got a story and you have an Ignite moment and you're igniting humanity in a unique way, we would love to hear your story. Go to ignitehumanity.life/share and fill out the type form. Tell us about you and what you're up to and how you're igniting humanity. And if you know somebody, one of your friends, colleagues, or families, if you could let them know exactly what they're doing, then we'd love to hear their story and see what they are up to. Just fill out that type form. Of course, one more time, $12 buys 12 bricks, and that is going to help our schools that we're building around the globe. We are igniting literacy, and we want to have you support us. And so just go to ignitehumanity.life/hope, and you can donate $12 for a brick. In fact, one of my friends just texted me yesterday. She bought 5 bouquets of hope for her family and friends. So we love you. There's no limit on how many bricks of hope that you can support the community. Well, we're here every Monday to Friday. We're talking about ways to ignite humanity. We're truly inspiring individuals. And if you want to know more about what we're up to, check out our website, ignitehumanity.life, and you'll see our documentary, our docu-series, our book, our projects, everything that we're doing. And of course, know how you can help with our Classroom of Hopes that we're building around the globe. Well, thanks so much for being here. We will see you tomorrow live on location here in Los Angeles.
Now, more than ever, we need to come together to connect with one another. We need to feel the truth in who we are and let go of everything that's happened in the past. We need to empower every person on the planet and awaken hearts, enliven souls, come together, laugh, play, rejoice, connect, create, and love. It's time to ignite humanity. We want you to be a part of something that will impact the future for everyone. We want you to tell your story, share your Ignite moment, show people who you truly are. Be a part of igniting humanity and making a difference in the world and all of our futures.